All right, here we go. It's underway. It's official now. I gotta be careful of what I say now, Skip, because we're recording. So,
I
um,
know. Going to compliance for sure.
you guys, it is my pleasure to be here with y'all tonight, and uh, it's not very often that I get to do what I'm doing tonight. I should do it more often. I love chatting with Dr. Gary Campbell. If you know him really well, his name's Gary. No, I'm kidding. If you know him really well, his name is Skip, but he is Dr. Skip Campbell. And while he has witty, he's like a comedian, really. Anytime I talk about product and we get on a product conversation, this guy he knows a lot about product. And so first I want to introduce Skip. My name, guys, Brandon Cunningham. My wife and I have been around this company and products for over 10 years now. It's crazy. Those 10 years went by fast, but I've never been more excited about what we're doing than right now. And we're going to share, both of us, why that is. But I want to introduce you to Skip Campbell, Dr. Skip Campbell. Met them originally when they were living in Colorado. They moved to a warmer climate in Utah. But I'm glad Skip's here because, so often when we're talking about products or anything that we're doing, the opportunity, people are, they have questions. Let's just leave it at that. And I hope that we can answer some of those questions tonight, but give them a little background, Skip. I know, how long were you in chiropractic?
Almost 20 years, B. Almost 20 years.
Wow. And so I know it was a big practice. You were in a suburb of Denver. I know you worked with a bunch of people. You worked with some athletes, the Avalanche, but tell me a little bit about the practice.
Well, it was a dream for us. We wanted to own our own job. Or at least that's what we thought. I didn't love having a boss. I was in the military, didn't like waking up, didn't like having a boss. So we went into practice, found something we were passionate about in chiropractic. And honestly, chiropractors don't do it for the money or really the prestige. Although we did really, really well. We had a really large practice. You do it because you love people and you love chiropractic. And so we practiced Monday through Friday, took a 3-hour lunch. But for the most part, we were there almost every day of the week. And just we were together. My wife and I have always done things together. So she ran my front desk, and so it was kind of a family thing. And it was called Parker Family Chiropractic. And we had a great time doing it. I didn't leave it because I didn't love it.
Well, I know in talking to you about it, I have a fondness for chiropractors and what they can do for people. I had issues when I was younger that a chiropractor actually helped me with. And I actually thought about going into chiropractic for a while because I just was so intrigued.
Yeah.
And I know.
I'm glad you didn't.
I'm glad to now. I'm glad our paths crossed this way versus at, is it Palmer School of Chiropractic or somewhere along the way. But so tonight we're going to be talking about nutrigenomics from a doctor's point of view. What you saw when you were introduced to the products and the science, but explain a little bit to the group that's on tonight about nutrigenomics. People are normally like, what, what? Like what? So explain kind of what nutrigenomics is.
Well, nutrigenomics is simply changing genetic expression or improving genetic expression through nutrition. And it's such an important field now because our food is more and more nutrient deplete. And unless you live on a farm where you fertilize your own soil and you have your own animals and you take care of them really well, it's just going to be impossible, even if you go organic, to really pull the nutrients out of the food that we used to have. Even back in the 70s when I would eat at my grandparents' farm and they had their own garden and we killed our own cattle. And I knew what a real carrot tastes like. I don't think my kids know what a carrot tastes like. And so being able to improve genetic expression through nutrition is the future. And luckily you and I saw that. We were lucky enough to see that way back when, but it's an even bigger thing now than when we started,
Yeah. For those of you that's been able to travel the world, this to be true. Fruits and vegetables in other countries taste different than the fruits and vegetables in the United States. This is a fact. And so I might like fruits and vegetables more. And I just saw some deal, you may have saw this too, where some big, and I'm not going to get political here, but a company from another country than the United States just bought like one of the largest pork manufacturers and like bought all, like it's going to be like processed in another country and then brought back to the US. And the point is, we don't even know what we're eating, Art, do we?
No, we don't. Not with all the chemicals and preservatives, which gets us to NAD, but proper nutrition and being on the forefront, the cutting edge of that is so important, not just for our health and the health of our family and friends, but mental clarity. I mean, just everything, you know, look at people are walking around in a big fog, and it's just no wonder, you know, back in the day, you know, you get in a gunfight at the OK Corral, and if they didn't have you in the ground in a day or so, maybe two, you were going to start smelling really bad. And nowadays you can lay around on the slab for literally a couple of days, maybe even a week before you start to stink. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're just ingesting so many chemicals and preservatives that we are pickled.
Wow. So let's talk though, when it comes to nutrigenomics, you know, some people are under the impression still, even though what we just stated about nutrition, that a good diet is all you need. And so what's the angle with activation versus a diet or supplementation?
Yeah, no. So I'll tell you, first of all, supplements, I'm a big fan of supplements. I believe, unless you're eating a really, really good diet, you probably need to supplement something. You're probably not getting everything that you do need. And I'll tell you a little history too, Brady. You'll remember this, but we were actually friends with Dr. McCord in the very, very beginning, and we didn't know how this thing worked. We had no clue. The name nutrigenomics wasn't even tossed around until the science started saying, hey, you guys aren't another antioxidant company. You're actually flipping a switch in the human body, and the body's starting to produce its own antioxidant enzymes like you did when you were a child. And nutrigenomics was basically born then. I mean, I know some of the research might predate it, but as far as you know, a company fulfilling that need, this was it. We were the only one, still are the only one. And so to be able to just kind of, I don't want to say trick, but to be able to manipulate the DNA so that you can start performing like you did when you were a kid, before all the insult, before the oxidative insult, before all the chemical insults, even with some of the supplements that you take. There are supplements. In fact, I'm a big fan of supplements, but I had a buddy who wanted to join a network marketing company, and he asked me to look at his company, and I said I would never do it. I'm not saying you need to do this one, but they're all synthetic, and so many of the synthetic supplements out there are now synthetic. And so you really got to be careful what you put in your mouth. And just because you're eating, you know, one a day, not to pick them out, not necessarily a good thing. And so there's a lot of good supplements out there, and you might need to supplement. But one of the things that everybody needs is to activate. There's every single one of us, as we age, our DNA doesn't work the way it did when we were young. You can look in the mirror and see it.
So if someone activates their body cellularly, okay, what are they activating? Like what are they doing that a diet can't do? Like what's
Great question, man. So it's a great question. So as an example, I'll give you Nerf 2, which is one of our first product, one of our flagship products. And when you take these 5 ingredients inside of that little Nerf 2 pill, that are patented, by the way, in this exact formulation and potency and purity, then you're going to turn on a switch. This particular switch is called the Nerf 2 pathway. And one of the most exciting things in the beginning when we started hearing Nerf 2 was just go and do Nerf 2 research. And Nerf 2 is such a big deal. Washington State says it might be the medical breakthrough of the century. When you activate those 500 genes on your strand of DNA, collectively called the survival genes, your body does a bunch of really awesome things. It upregulates, it improves some of the healthy things like antioxidant enzyme production, downregulates some of the detrimental things like fibrosis of repair, and the reason we can't touch our toes at 50 anymore. And so when you activate, depending on what pathway you're activating, your body now, just think of it as like unlocking a door. You're just basically, you've got a key. You're not taking this because your body lacks these 5 ingredients, but Protandim Nerf 2 opens a door and allows now passage of these important proteins and enzymes, and your body, your cells start functioning like they did when you were younger. So it's important to know when you lack vitamin C, you need to supplement with a vitamin C supplement. We are actually not a supplement company. And Brandon, I don't know whether you've had to struggle with this, but I frequently will find myself saying, well, it's the most important supplement in the world. It's not really a supplement. In fact, it's not a supplement at all. It's a Nerf 2 activator, and it's a gene switch. That's the best way to say it. It's just a gene switch.
Yeah, I had a newer physician. She's a podiatrist up in Connecticut. I was on a Zoom like this with a small group, and she said something I've been repeating and something I've known, but she was talking about a diabetic. Well, one of the treatments for a diabetic is insulin because the pancreas is not doing what it's supposed to do. And so she says, I'm not saying that we get the pancreas to create insulin again, but he said, just imagine if there was something you could do instead of taking insulin, if you could take something that made the pancreas do what it should do. Wouldn't you rather the pancreas do the work than the insulin? Like, insulin is the supplement, right? And so it just is like this like light went off. And I'm like, she goes, so that's what's happening cellularly. When you activate NRF2, it's now doing things that your body hasn't been able to do for a while. And so when these enzymes, like, we know SOD, superoxide dismutase, is one of the enzymes, key enzymes, antioxidant enzymes. When you activate that one enzyme, Skip, how is that more powerful than eating oranges or vitamin C or any other antioxidant or super juice? How's that better?
Yeah. Well, whenever you take an antioxidant, they're everywhere, by the way. It's kind of funny. My grandson pulled a box of Fruity Pebbles out of the pantry today. It says packed with antioxidants. And so now, for those of you who don't know, Fruity Pebbles are health food. The problem with when you take a direct antioxidant, you break it down in your gut.
Wait. And that's why Skip's grandkids love him.
Yes, that's true. You tell the papas to get the Fruity Pebbles. But when you take a direct antioxidant, it's broken down into your gut. No matter how fantastical the story is, it's broken down in your gut, and one antioxidant molecule can kill one free radical, and that's it. They're both gone. You need a new antioxidant enzyme. Well, the antioxidant molecule. The problem is you create 300 sextillion of these things a day, and you literally can't eat enough antioxidants to even put a dent. It's like taking a cup of water to a forest fire. You just can't, you have no effect whatsoever. You can't eat, and you could be the big fat blue chick in the Willy Wonka thing, and you still didn't eat enough blueberries. You can't even touch the amount of oxidative stress that the body produces on a daily basis. So when you take and activate superoxide dismutase, one molecule of superoxide dismutase can kill 1 million free radicals every single second. Because it's an enzyme, it's not eradicated after it's there. It kills another in the next second. So it's like having a fire hose instead of a Dixie cup trying to put out a fire.
I remember talking to you, like, you as a doctor, you guys had people walking through your door getting pitched all the time, right? I mean, you guys getting pitched all the time. And what you just said, isn't that like one of the reasons you looked at this thing?
No question. We looked at this in the beginning exactly like you did. Somebody showed us a dated ABC primetime video, and they made this really crazy claim in this video that this one little yellow pill could lower oxidative stress 40% in just 30 days. And when I heard that, if you're not in the field, if you don't understand what oxidative stress is, it's a buzzword. And when I heard it, I said, well, crap. If that's true, why everybody should know about it. I said, if that's true, it's the most important thing you can eat. And we went and did our research. But yeah, we went, again, if you want to try to there's lots of good supplement companies out there. And there's lots of supplements. And none of them are special. They're just all supplements. And so, yeah, when I heard that, I said, this is special. This is different. This is the future, the cutting edge.
And so where'd you go do your research? Because everybody's skeptical. I mean, if you're not skeptical, you're gullible. Nobody wants to be gullible. So where does a doctor go or a layman go?
I wouldn't recommend this, but I would go to the internet if I was a layman. Fortunately, I taught a neurology class at the University of Colorado Medical School. So I went down to the medical library. I spent some time in the library. And then I thought, wait a second, Joe McCord teaches at the Colorado Medical School. So I went and met Joe. So yeah, I did my research like a researcher does his research. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for the average distributor, but you can go to the internet right now. If you go to pubmed.gov, where we store all of our peer-reviewed research, you can see. Brandon, I looked this up the other day, and I know it's not a comprehensive search, but I spent a little time. I was bored on a plane, and I tried to find other substances that had any peer reviews saying it could lower oxidative stress, from omega-3s to resveratrol to you name it. I found about 26 or 27 articles saying a supplement can lower oxidative stress, and all of them were from Protandim. And so right now, we're the only show in town, dude. You can't drink enough wine, you can't eat enough grapes. We're the only one in town.
Yeah, so the product is called Protandim, guys, that our company LifeVantage produced. Nutrigenomics is the science. And it's a family now. Protandim is a family of products. So we took the science originally from NRF2, this one activator, this one receptor. So the cell has all these receptors. NRF2 is like the gateway. Like it's to me that opens the doors and really makes the cell start to function properly. It like knocks the rust off. But we also know that there was other pathways that we wanted to activate for people who wanted more than just the SOD production. They're like, well, wait a second. Yeah, I want to reduce oxidative stress, but I want to have more energy. I want my cells to be cleaned out. And so tell us how the company has kind of opened up now to NRF1 activation, and something I'm super excited about, Skip, NAD. Like listen, I am for real excited about NAD.
Yeah, NAD is awesome. I spent the time to look this up, so I want to read one sentence before I go on from NRF2. Texas Health Science Center had a sentence that I love. It says, NRF2 is, this is not up for debate, the guardian of health span and gatekeeper of species longevity.
Wow, say that again. What school?
Texas Health Science Center. I'll send you the link. Guardian of health span, and health span in the literature always means longer, healthier years. That's what that means. When you hear the health span, no matter what the research is, it's healthier, longer years. So guardian of health span, gatekeeper of species longevity. So yeah, we can activate the NRF2 pathway. So next, obviously NRF1. We don't want to activate NRF3. That's not necessarily good. So NRF1, we can activate the NRF1 pathway. And NRF1 is the very, very important pathway when you consider the fact that we are powered by our mitochondria. We've got to figure out a way to get those dudes working the way they were. And I don't know how old you guys are on this Zoom, but I know that my mitochondria was not working the way it was when I was 18. You know, I remember, dude, I remember trying to beat the night. I don't know how many times you ever did that. I was like, I don't need to go to sleep tonight. I can handle tomorrow morning without any sleep tonight. And now I want to take a nap in the middle of the day. And I think you're from another planet if you don't love sleep. But the truth is we're all experiencing that, and being able to recharge our mitochondria, being able to get them to reproduce the numbers, the quality of mitochondria that we need to be fully energetic. Such a huge deal. And then I touched on it earlier, NAD. NAD is, by the way, really burgeoning research, a lot of research coming out about NAD, probably more so than NRF1. But NAD is a really important molecule. It's not exactly a pathway, although nutrigenomics is why we can make you make more NAD. And it is integral in cell autophagy, except for if you came to our Lead Academy, it was pronounced autophagy. I've never heard anybody say autophagy before.
Tomato.
The cells have the ability to clean themselves up. And like everything else good, as we age, we're just not as good at cleaning out our cells of all the gunk that's in there. And so NAD is critical in being able to clean up those cells. And so we've got all these things that we're chugging and putting in our bodies, and some of them aren't good, and the chemicals and the preservatives and all that stuff. If our body's not able to effectively get rid of that, eliminate that stuff, we're in a little trouble. And so to be able to improve, if that was, by the way, the only thing it did, Brandon, if that was all it did, it would be worth every penny every month. But speaking for myself, 2 days in, I literally felt, for lack of a better word, buzzed. And it's been like that ever since. Whereas NRF2 might not have been as demonstrable right off the bat, NAD for me certainly was. And so it plays a big role in our body's ability to produce energy. And then finally, there's the sirtuin theory of aging, and our product upregulates the body's production of sirtuin. And sirtuin is such an important enzyme again. So,
yeah, guys. So we're talking about flipping these switches, right? The switches are cellular switches. This is the packet. So the Protandim family consists of 3 different products. They're all in this one packet. It's called the Tri-Synergizer.
Do you love that packet, by the way?
The what?
You love that packet, the way it's
dude, like I love this packet, and I love sharing this packet. I just was with my boat mechanic, and I gave him a handful of these a couple days because he really needs to get my boat done faster. But so I asked him today, I'm like, so you feel anything? He's like, yeah, I need more of those packets. I'm like, we can work this out. You make my boat run, and I make you run. We can work this out.
That's right, dude.
I love those packets. And guys, so the Protandim family is now available to you depending on your health goals. NRF2 to me, as Skip just highlighted, it's the gateway. Like it's the gatekeeper. You got to get past the gate. And so NRF2 is a non-negotiable. But I'm 49 and I got, a lot of things I still want to accomplish. So I want to optimize, right? So I do take all of the Protandim family. And Skip, let's touch on just a second. We took the science there, and we've also attacked specifically hair, skin, the brain, weight, metabolism. Touch on that just a tad.
Well, you know, they're all interlinked. And so it's kind of one of those things where what was the chicken come or the egg, whether it's a result of having more energy, your metabolism is increased, or the other way around. I think that's what I've noticed. I did notice in the beginning heat. I can't explain it any other way, but I know that in the gym I feel better. I know I recover better. I certainly don't feel 54 years old. And I think that we've got products in our ability to even activate the nerve 2 pathway in the skin, in the scalp. I use the scalp serum, and I love that stuff. I rub it on my scalp every single day. I have noticed without question fewer hairs in the drain. It was one of the things that as I aged, I started counting. If you're 22, you don't get this, but you just count hairs in the drain, man. And if there's less hairs in the drain, that means that you got a fuller head of hair. And so we kind of got, for me, we got all that covered. Whether you really want to feel better or whether you want to look better or maybe a little of both, I think we had that covered. But I mean, when you activate those 500 genes and then NAD and NRF1, there's so many positive. Honestly, Brandon, I'll tell you, we're so at the beginning of all this. I really still have, and you've heard me say this before, I don't think we really have any clue yet. I think you and I are excited, but I don't really think we have any clue how far reaching the health benefits of these products will be.
Yeah. And so guys, if you're kind of like, you know, I know, because I talk to people all the time about their health, and there's so many people like at wit's end, and like they don't want to take the synthetic, they don't want to go down the pharmaceutical, but they just feel trapped. If that's kind of resonating with you, like maybe you're already there, you don't want to go there, you should really take a look at what we're talking about and really take a look at activating your cells. And if you're not even close to there, this kind of works like investing. The earlier you start investing financially, the better. Like, don't wait till you're 50. Like, don't wait till you're 50 or 40 to start worrying about your health. Like, the earlier you start protecting yourself, the better off you're going to be long term. So
no doubt.
So, okay, so a doctor, like everybody wants to put this in front of doctors. I know I wanted you on the phone all the time 10 years ago. You were gracious enough to do some webinars 10 years ago. But like, why would a doctor, so obviously you and I are business partners here. Yeah. If it's not obvious, now it is. I just told you. And so you got a doctor that got involved. My wife and I were business owners. We owned 6 corporations. When we took a look at this, we were up to here. This was 2009. You guys remember what happened in 2008, 2009? I thought we were really good, but we were putting all of our eggs into traditional business, and that kind of came crashing down. And just, guys, I know the economy's great right now, but it won't always be. It can't always be. There has to be a reset. It always has to pull back, and you don't want all your eggs in one basket. And so Skip, why should anyone look at this? But why did a doctor? Like, that's a whole nother level, right? I mean, you had what most people would die to have financially.
Yeah, we were doing really well. You know, we probably bring home about 30 grand a month. But we had to, like you, with your corporations, you were doing well too. But I had to, and by the way, I don't know if you were noticing, what the stock market dropped 1,000 points today. 1,000.
I didn't see. I saw early they dropped a couple hundred, but I've been totally off the news for the last few hours. So
1,000's a lot, but you know what's interesting is my business did well today. So I mean, I feel bad for the people that are invested in the stock market, but I'd rather do something I could control, and that was literally the reason we decided to do this. I controlled chiropractic, but if I wanted to make more money, just like you with your corporations, I just had to work harder. I was the guy. I was the key. I had no leverage whatsoever. And so I think that, you know, I used to run around saying to everybody, well, you never know when you talk to somebody whether they just want more money or whether they want more time. And so I try to sum it up like this, dude. I wanted what you wanted and Lynette wanted. My wife and I love you guys. We wanted quality of life. Whatever it takes to get you that, we wanted to get our time back. And at the end of the day, the only way to have your time back is to buy it back. So I've said this before, having a big why is so important in this industry. My wife and I wanted to be able to do, and this sounds very selfish, but I wanted to be able to do what I want, when I want, where I want, as often as I want, with whomever I want. I want to take it's all about family for me. It's all about the kids and the grandkids and the people that I want to spend time with. And even, I thought about this on the way home, even coming back from Cancun. You know, you and I were recently in Cancun together. And even if you go to Cancun, which sounds terrible for a work trip, you're down there with people like Brandon and Lynette Cunningham. I mean, it's not even, you know, everybody goes to work and they're surrounded by buttholes that they don't like. And when you and I go to work, we're surrounded by people that think like we think and are energetic and motivated and happy and upbeat. And man, it's a whole different thing. But we wanted time freedom, dude. We wanted to be able to own our own time.
Well, I tell people this too. I was talking to someone about this recently, and he was kind of struggling with it. And I'm like, let me just make this simple. So for anybody out there that's trying to figure this thing out, because you're thinking maybe you make a lot of money, and well, that's great. But at some point in your life, there's going to come a point where you're not mentally or physically able to do it anymore. Meaning you're checked out. You're just over it. The money is not important anymore. You're going to want to do something else, and you still need money. Because here's the deal. Here's the question. If today was the last day you could work for money, if it's over, like if today was the last day you could go to work, how much money do you have to rely on, and how long will it last? You know your lifestyle. No one wants to go backwards. If you're spending $5,000 or $10,000 a month, okay, now you got the number. How many 5 or 10 grand months do you have saved up? And is it a lifetime? Because if it's not a lifetime, because how many more years do you plan on living? This is easy math, guys. This is real easy math. If you've got 50 grand in the bank, you got 5 months until you go back to work. I mean, you don't want to go back to work, maybe, right? At some point. And so you guys need to think that if today is the last day you could ever work, how much do you have coming in every month? That's what this is about. This isn't about today's money problems. This is about creating a lifestyle where you can, as Skip just said, do what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want. And it's not about a certain dollar amount. It's about being happy. And if I ask 10 people, Skip, if you ask 10 people, what's your level of happiness with your job and at work?
Dude, you have what kind of time you have? You don't have, the other day I got really good service at a Costco. I needed to do a return. Sometimes it can be a hassle, and I wanted to return it for something else specific. And this guy was an assistant manager there, and he was awesome, and he was really great. And I said, dude, why? I just for some reason wanted to ask him why. Why? And he goes, well, it's my job. And I said, no, I know, but why? Why are you exchanging your hours and coming here and helping me right now? Why? And he's like, well, I gotta pay the bills. I got kids to feed, and that's only so motivating. So you're exactly right. Most people do every single day, and I think this is something we need to overcome when we start doing network marketing. But most people do every day something they don't want to do. Every day of their life, for 8 or 9 hours, they are doing something they don't want to do. So to ask them that question, a lot of people can't answer it, Brandon. But the reality is that we only get one of these. And like you said earlier, your questions is so important because you just don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. You could go to work tomorrow and hopefully nothing, but you don't know. The day after tomorrow could be a whole drastic looking time.
And for some of you guys that are watching this, listening to this, or going to watch it, let me put this in context. My wife and I, over the last 10 years, we calculated this up. Our groups, our networks, I think networks are the most powerful thing that people are not tapping into. No doubt. Our networks have helped us sell $130 million of these nutrigenomics, okay? And the company will roughly pay you, well, I'm not gonna make any income claims, but it's get with the person that put you on here, let them show you, ask for the income earning statement. We're publicly traded, we're on the NASDAQ. Ask for the income earning statement. Skip and I are both Master Pro 10s, and Skip, if we did 130, Skip's got more than, Skip's over 200 million. He might be pushing over 300 million in sales.
Brian, I'll tell you what, Brandon, just like I said in Mexico, do you have any idea how much money I make?
Yeah, that was not the last trip to Mexico. That was another one, but
another trip to Mexico.
But I know Skip and Jill's business has sold in excess of 200 million, probably close to $300 million in these products. So guys, if you're watching this, if you want to get in and just put your toe in the water, that's fine. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're making lots of money, there's still a big opportunity here, huge. And so Skip, you've been at it 10 years. I've been at it 10 years. What today excites you about LV? Is it comp plan? Is it systems? Is it the corporate staff? What are you excited about?
I'll tell you what, we've said this before, it's the synergy right now. We are on the cutting edge of nutrigenomics. There's nobody else right now. And if you're going to join a supplement company, you got to run around and tell everybody why your supplement's better than everybody else's supplement. Over here, we've got no competitor. We're peerless, even though we've got 30 peer reviews. So the science behind the product excites me because we're the only show in town. But when you start to bring the everything together, the company, publicly traded company that's learning and growing and is stable, if you bring together the compensation plan, which you and I didn't know how it was even going to work at the beginning, you put all that together now with leadership, mature leadership that knows how to do this. And honestly, we haven't scratched the scratch. So the future of what we can do, what's the word I'm looking for? The vision, what can we all do together really intrigues me. And so, yeah, it excites me. It's not hard. I know people would think it'd be hard making what we make to stay excited and motivated, but it really isn't very hard. Not at all. Not when when you see what we see. I'm more excited now than I've been in a very, very, very long time because of our ability to develop these new products and remain on the forefront of nutrigenomics with a compensation plan that's ultimately fair.
Well, I know, guys, here's the deal. It's all about market share. So we've been at this for a while, but Skip and I know kind of like the tipping point, right? And we feel as if this company is in such an incredible position that it doesn't matter what day, it doesn't matter what time, we are really paddling and put this in front of people because we know market share. We know there's massive opportunity for people to get involved. Guys, this is as Skip said, publicly traded. We just rang the bell. For the NASDAQ, closed out. That was a couple of weeks ago. The company has got executives that have got just decades of experience. And you're looking at two guys with their wives that had never done this before, that reached the top of this compensation plan. And so it doesn't require that you know how to do this coming in. It doesn't require that you've had success before. What it requires is that you see the validity of the product, you see the vision there, and you want some change in your life. You don't want to continue doing what you've been doing because you're going to just get more of that. And so, Skip, I know you've got the time now, and I also know you do love those grandkids. So what are you doing with all the time? Like, I know that you've got some time on your hands.
Yeah, no, this is the best time of life, dude. And being a grandparent is the reward for not killing your teenagers. And so I would recommend first that none of you kill your teenagers, because if you don't, they'll give you grandkids. So now I get to chase them around, dude. I get to watch them play baseball and basketball. It seems like I've got a baseball, basketball, or gymnastics or dance rehearsal almost every day of the week. And I love every one of them. I love every minute of it. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And I want to point out, before I give my little plug here, I want to point out this. One of the reasons we were successful, and what you just said is so important, you and I have one thing in common, many, many things in common. But first of all, we both married up, way up. But we had never done this before. And yet we have a system, and we had passion and vision, and those things got us to where we're at. The thing that I think is so exciting is that I don't care where you're at in your health. If you take these things, they'll activate you, and you'll be better regardless. It's the same no matter where you are in your financial life. If you plug in with us and do what we teach you how to do, it doesn't matter what your experience level is, your background, your history. It doesn't matter what your education is. None of that matters whatsoever. We can help you improve your situation. And so I'm excited about that. To be able to chase my kids around. I'm going to the Bahamas again. You know that, Brandon. That's our happy place. We're taking all 18 of us. We're going to the Bahamas for a week. We're going to come home. And the truth is, if we wanted to unpack, repack, and go straight back, we could. But I do want to get a plug. If you guys could do me a favor, you know my oldest grandson is been on stage. You've watched him beat me up on stage before. But he's an 11-year-old baseball prodigy. He's a very, 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 very good baseball player. He's also a pretty good Fortnite player, and he just opened up this YouTube channel, and it's called Porter, Porter Gaming 28. Porter Gaming 28. And you just go watch this kid play Fortnite for a minute. You don't have to do that. But he just did it just like a day or two ago. He's got 5 views on some of his videos. If you guys would all just go like one of his videos, it'd be mean so much to me, because he'd go from having 5 views to 250 views overnight. Maybe he thinks he's arrived or something. I don't know. But it'll be a fun joke to play on him. So if you could go to Porter Gaming 28 and just like one of his videos, listen to his voice because he's cute as heck, man. He's just the awesomest kid in the world. But let me point this out in closing for this part, dude. You and I, we had a vision, and we knew what it was going to look like when we got there. And nobody's going to follow you to somewhere. I would say the reason you're such a great leader, Brandon, is because you know where you're going, and people will hitch their wagons to you. I would say I would follow you anywhere, but you got to know where you're going. We architected this life in the beginning, and now we get to live this life. And anybody on this call can do the exact same thing. There's nothing special about us. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to own a bunch of businesses. If you have vision and you can see what we see and a little bit of drive, you can have the same thing we've got. There was nothing special to me.
So there you go. From the grand, tell them just real quick. Tell them, I think one of the coolest things, like what you, like, was it on your tombstone? What you want on your tombstone?
World's greatest grandpa. I want world's greatest grandpa written on my tombstone. And
I think you're making a really good run at it. Like you
I'm
could
trying
see
to.
glowing talking about his son's YouTube channel, guys. We are talking about a multi-million-dollar opportunity that changes people's health, and Skip is equally excited about his grandson's YouTube channel. Like,
if you can't live with passion, I don't even know why I live at all. But I'll tell you, I'm passionate about a lot of those things. But you know what, man? One of the reasons I'm going to be the world's greatest papa when I die is because I'm there. I am never not there. Every time they look at the stands, I'm sitting there. No boss tells me when, or boss or financial circumstance. If my daughter called me tomorrow and said, your granddaughter has a recital in Savannah tomorrow night, I can afford to hop a plane and go watch her. So can you. If you're not, listen, B, it's all about choices. And at the end of the day, I hate it when people say, well, I can't go because I don't have enough money. That's not you can't go because you made some bad choices. If you make better choices, you can go and you can have any life you want to. And that's just the truth.
And the truth is, there's hundreds of people on here tonight. A person's network found me, a person's network found Skip. Because they did that, we found each other. And between the two of us and our teams, we found you. The people that are watching, I don't know, probably I know some of you, but I don't know all of you. That means our network found you. And you guys, whether you carry your cell phone in your pocket or your purse, it is worth millions of dollars to you because it's full of a network of people that can help you accomplish the same thing that helped Skip and I accomplish what we have. And you are the gateway. Like Nerf 2 is the gateway to your health. You are the gateway to your financial future. And most people are just dying for an opportunity, have no idea it's right here. If you'll just open it and allow the people in there to see this vision and do this with us. And here's the greatest thing. You don't have to be this all-knowing person, because Skip and I and our teams do these all the time. Get with the person that put you on here, and there'll be another Zoom like this, shorter. We talked a little bit tonight, but there'll be another Zoom like this in a couple days or a week. They will tell you when that Zoom is. All you have to do, guys, is make a decision to get in with us. The price to be a distributor in this is, it should be 10 times just to be introduced to the people you'll be introduced to. I tell people all the time, you should join us just so I can introduce you to my network. My network is worth way more than that enrollment.
No doubt.
And if you will come to some of our bigger events, you will be introduced to some of the finest, just amazing entrepreneurs with a mindset that is needed to succeed in whatever the business is. And we will introduce you to them. We will get you connected. And when you connect amazing people, amazing things happen, guys. So I hope you guys benefited from this tonight. We're passionate. This is simple. It's really simple. If you see the vision, if you see the profit potential in the product, you see the uniqueness. When there's something unique and the world needs it, someone gets paid. It should be you if you'll just use this thing in a simple system. That it was like 1, 2, 3. We followed the same system.
Can I say one more thing, dude?
Sure, man.
That was a powerful close, and I stole your close, by the way. I tell everybody, I give you credit every time. When I heard you the first time, every meeting I've ever closed is the same way. We found you. We're going to find everybody that you know. We're going to find your family. We're going to find your friends. The choice is watch us do it or help us do it, and that's your choice. But I'll tell you something I tell everybody, and this is the truth. This is how I feel. It's important to get started. It's important to make that decision. It's important to know that just because you say no doesn't mean we're going to stop. I was lucky enough to get in just a couple weeks before you. I don't know how many. I tell everybody in every meeting I ever do, Brandon Cunningham, and I point you out specifically, should have been in my group. He's not exactly in my lineage, but he should have been. Now, I didn't know Brandon, and I didn't know anybody who knew Brandon, but I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew Brandon. And because we didn't get to him fast enough, he ended up in somebody else's group, and it's cost me millions. So the other thing is, you and I, we always had a ton of urgency. Ton of urgency. You cannot do this fast enough. You guys, we should be on the same team. And now I want you to come do this for my group in a week or two. All right?
Yeah, it sounds great. Sounds great, Skip. Thank you. Thank Jill for letting this happen tonight. Thank all of you for being on. I hope you enjoyed this tonight. And you can see we're just real people, but with a real opportunity. And we hope we can share it with you. Thanks, Skip. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great night.
Tell Lynette, Jill and I said hi.
Will do. All right. Good night.
See you.